Hey guys, Josh from Vertical Drum Co. Taking a copper snare that's been at my church for a while, and I'm gonna give it a little bit of maintenance. Swap out heads, top and bottom, make sure snare wire is good, and just see how it's doing, freshen it up, and send it back to church. Just wanted to give you guys a video to kind of show how I do that, start to finish. I'm going to work with a drill with a bit here that works for tension rods. You don't want to use this to tighten, but using it to loosen, no problem. We can just get all these guys out. If you use this to tighten your tension rods, you're going to have issues with cross-threading or getting them too tight or things not seating perfectly. So I only recommend the drill bit to loosen and take off tension rods. First thing, I'm just going to make sure everything on the hoop is good. Just kind of get it with the microfiber cloth, make sure there's not any sharp edges that are going to mess with the heads or anything like that. We've been playing this snare non-stop for a while at Ecclesia, the church that I go to, and it's great, but we need some new heads. This guy is, I don't know, maybe 8 months old and seen some use. So, bye. Alright, next step. That was cool. Alright, next up, making sure everything's good here. Everything looks fine. Let's give it a wipe with the microfiber too. I don't put anything on these. They've got a clear lacquer on them. You don't really need to put any oil or anything. Some people do that with their wood snares just to keep the edges nice and fresh. On everything that Vertical makes, no need for that. Just make sure it's clean and you're good. There is a little bit of kind of funky lint and dust in here. So I'm going to give it a quick spray with air just to get everything out. Be right back. Okay, got the lint out of there, everything else looks good. Put a top hat on. I like to make sure that they're centered. I don't care too much about trying to put this top hoop back in the same exact spot. I think it's good to kind of mix up, maybe like tires. A little bit of rotation to it's not going to be bad. I'm going to make sure that we don't have any dirt on any of these tension rods. Just going to kind of do that as we go. We don't need to put more grease on these. This snare's maybe 2 years old, and I can still feel that these tension rods are going in just nicely. If you're feeling or hearing a lot of screeching, or you're feeling metal on metal as you do this, then maybe use some tension rod grease. The stuff that I really like is Extreme Pressure Lube by CMD. You can get it on Amazon. I'll link it in the product description. That's the best stuff out there. You can also use white lithium grease. Some of the drum companies make some stuff specifically for it. That product is by far the best. It's anti-scoring. It doesn't attract dirt and grime and stuff. Like even these haven't been on there for a while, are still just good to go. Highly recommend it. Super cheap. It's going to last you forever too. So, of course, when you're doing some drum maintenance and swapping heads on everything, you're going to have to tune it. I have plenty of tuning tutorials here on YouTube. You can check them out. I'll give you kind of a quick rundown on this. Alright, we like this snare as low as it can go. So we're gonna tune it pretty low here. Going finger tight like this first, and then finger tight with the drum key. You can use this or one of the Evans magnetic keys. Those work great too. They have a little thumb turn top piece on them. They're great. There's plenty of other options out there on the market too for this sort of thing. You can also, if you don't have a specific drum key like that, but you do have one of these drill bits by Evans or some other people make them, you can put that on there and you can use this to just get a little more than finger tight like that. Finger tight with the key is going to be just the next step. Okay, finger tight on all of that. I'm going to give it the tiniest little bit of tension with the key. Not much, like I said, we're going pretty low on this guy. So maybe 1/8 of a turn? Yeah, that seems crazy, but it works, dude. Don't be afraid to tune your stuff low. A lot of people just crank everything and forget or never learn that their drum can sound really good tuned differently than what they normally do. All right, let's check it out on a TuneBot. Look at that, 202, 199. So we are a little bit lower than what I want, not too bad. Let's try and get, I find the magic number is 212 for a super low tuning. Not sure why. And again, a lot of people think that's crazy. I don't. We're a little bit all over the place. Not stressed about it. See if we can just kind of push this guy into where it needs to be and call it good. We're going for 212. A couple of these are just too high. 222 on those. I'm guessing maybe that too. All right, we got some 213s, some 212s. Now we're pretty much right there on most of these. We're gonna play it a little bit with this being a brand new head too. 212s. Nice, everything is 211, 212, 213. That's what we're going for. Not sure if you can see it. Right there, and it didn't even take long. So we're within 1 hertz on all of that already. Now let's flip it over. Let's check out the residue side head. This one has plastic straps with a 42 strand snare wire. This residue head has been on here well over a year. That's too long. Resonant side really gives you a lot of your tone on a snare. We've changed the batter head maybe twice. The reso head has stayed the same. So I'm kind of curious to see if it stayed tight enough, because I don't check this on a regular basis when I'm playing. So I do want to see what it shows on the TuneBot. Wow, 396. This was originally tuned to 400, so we're like right there. That's cool. That really stayed put. That's great. Okay, so I'm gonna detune just a little bit on here first, and then we use the drill bit. I don't want to detune with the drill bit right away. I want to go across the drum because this has such high tension on it. If we just take one of the lugs out, we might just snap this head and get the drum off true as that tension breaks. Look how nice and there's like coffee and stuff on this. This guy is magic. Wow. All right, here we go. All right, same thing as I did before. I'm gonna wipe down the hoop, make sure there's no sharper spots. No rough spots that are going to give us trouble on the reso head. Okay, looks good. Taking this guy off. That's a goner too. Brand new Evans Snare Side 300. That's what we're going for. I'm gonna make sure that this is all good here too. We've got a little bit of residue, and we've got, I think when someone spilled coffee on it, they literally like got here on the edge and stuff. So I'm gonna give this a little more of a wipe down than I normally would, but first I wanna blow all this lint off. So give me a second, I'll be right back. All right, we back. So everybody wants to know what the magic formula, the magic cleaner is for getting some of this residue off, for cleaning a metal drum on the edges if you need to. It's called baby wipes. So we're gonna pull a baby wipe out of here. Dude, make sure you get the natural care. We don't want this thing scented. We don't care about this drum's bum side hygiene. We just want to clean this without marking it and without taking off any finish. So, baby wipes are the way to go. You heard it here. Don't be stupid. If this is a wood drum, I don't recommend using baby wipes. Don't go mess up your drum and say that Josh at Vertical told you to. If it's a metal drum though, that's what we're going with. We're good. It's not going to screw up the lacquer. It's not going to mess up anything. However, we are going to have some sort of moisture on there, so we'll need to dry it off a little. The microfiber works for that, but just a nice paper towel is going to be a little quicker, and I don't want to get any baby wipe random residue on my microfiber cloth if I'm using it to clean drums and stuff. So, paper towel, we're good to go. That's literally the stuff you're here for on YouTube, huh? All right. Once we have this side cleaned, we're good. We're putting on that snare head, reso side. We want to make sure that seats well. When you're putting on your hoop, make sure you put the channels for the snare wire, strings, straps, whatnot, into the correct spots. I cannot tell you how many times I've put it in the wrong spot for absolutely no reason besides just that I did not check it and didn't care when I did it. So, there we go, same thing. I don't need to add grease onto these tension rods. They all look fine. Making sure they don't have a lot of dirt and grime and random stuff on them. These ones look really good. No problems there. They still have grease on them. I can feel it. They're going into the lugs nice and smooth. Everything is tip-top. I don't know what that means, but you guys might. Once I get all these in, we're gonna go finger tight. I'm making sure that the hoop is on there nice and straight, that we're not putting it on kind of funky. I do wonder if having some coffee on the reso head actually made our snare tone so good at Ecclesia. Maybe we need to spill coffee on this guy. Who knows? You kind of wonder about that stuff. Like sometimes, you know, like a natural patina on a cymbal is sort of what's giving you the tone you love, and then you get a new cymbal or you clean it and you're like, oh, this isn't quite as lovely as it used to be. Anyway, I like to think about that kind of stuff. Okay, I got a little bit of grease on my fingers. We're just gonna wipe them off. It's not too much to really matter. Just don't want to get it all over the drum heads or the tune bot. Okay, finger tight. We're gonna do the same thing that we did on the top. Get it finger tight with the key now. This snare is copper, so you got to be nice to it. Copper is not a very rigid metal. It's a softer metal. that's a little more pliable. You don't want to go crazy with anything you're doing with copper. You got to be nice to these drums. And if you're nice to them, they will be nice to you and they will sound incredible. If you're not nice to them, they'll still probably sound good. But for not as long, maybe. Alright, there we go. We're finger tight. We're going to do a quarter turn on all the lugs. Then we're going to do a half turn on all the lugs. We're going to go around doing this twice. It matters very much that you go across the drum. Check out some other videos I've posted if you haven't seen any of those. Give you a lot more info on tuning. This one's a little bit more just about the maintenance, what you do to replace all the heads and start over on this snare after getting a lot of use and sounding really good for a long time. Okay, I'm going to give it a little bit more because I know this snare. I know it needs just another quarter turn around. Then we have to do a little more just on the snare beds. This is an 8 lug. That means we need to put more tension on these two. You have to do that on a 10 lug as well, but not quite as much. All right, let's check it. We're going for 400. So we're right there. I can go around this snare and mess with it and see. But I already know just based on how I've used this before, how I've tuned it up, and I've worked with a lot of these copper snares. We're good to go. 400. I'm just going to check it by ear real quick. Yep, good to go. Love it. All right, so we're going to get the snare wire back on. Again, this one has plastic straps on it. I'm making sure I'm going to use these same plastic straps. I don't really feel the need to switch it right now. Plastic doesn't stretch and stays true for a long time, so we're good. I always like to attach the snare wire to the butt side first. You really want to make sure it's centered. You don't want it to be off compared to the butt plate or off compared to the snare. That's going to be your most critical piece of getting your snare wire adjusted. I have a video that I just made that will be up on YouTube shortly, probably by the time this one goes up, that shows just how to adjust a snare wire. Check that out. It's helpful. I'm not going to talk too much about it right now because that other video does a much better job than whatever I would say right this moment. So go check it out. All right, we're going to get this guy centered. So real quick, with these trick throws, I have some other videos on how to properly adjust them. You want to make sure that this is engaged when you actually go for reinstalling the snare wire, but you also want to make sure that this is loose. You want to have a lot of movement here if possible. So here's where we're at. We got to get this finger tight first, not too hard. Just going to tuck that down, put this piece back on it, tighten it up. I want it finger tight where I can still slide the snare wire, string, or strap, or whatever I'm using through, because we want this part of the throw to go up as we pull the snare wire down. So that would be engaged. When you flip it over, that means the throw is all the way down and the snare wire is pulled all the way up. So, kind of looks like this. I'm just going to pull that as much as I can down and pull this up. When we're there, I'm just going to lift this up and we're going to tighten up these two little bolts there. So that should be fully engaged. Sometime maybe you did it wrong. Let's see here, 1 sec. Maybe I didn't have it engaged. There's a good learning moment, right? Yep, all right, so I did it the wrong way. There you go, you can learn from my mistake. You do want to make sure the throw is engaged first. I had it the wrong way. Thought it was there. So, same thing. Pulling this down, snare wire down, throw part up, holding it. The only way you're going to learn is by doing this stuff. So don't sit there and have the idea of, I can't adjust my snare wire. It's on a trick throw. It's going to be too hard. Blah, blah, blah. None of that. If you're doing that, you're never going to get the tone that you like. You're always just going to be kind of stuck into whatever tone someone already had on there. So, mess with it. Have fun with it. That wasn't too hard. I'm then going to tighten this up. Super low. Still got some crispy. Maybe go a tiny bit up on here, but that's essentially it. From there, I'm going to play it a little bit before I bring it back to church and just make sure we're good to go. I want to stretch this top head and make sure that it's real good by the time we put it on a live stream or in front of actual people at church. So, there we go. But yeah, everything's centered. We've got this thing kind of redialed in, brand new heads on it, kept the same snare wire, cleaned it up a little bit, and it's good to go for church. I hope that video helps you guys. If you have other stuff, questions about drum maintenance or anything you really want to see on this channel, please leave me a comment. Please let me know what would help you the most. We are a drum company that makes gear mainly for churches, and my goal is to help all you guys have better sounds, and whether you're using our products or somebody else's, I want you to be able to tune them well and sound really good when you're playing at church. So check out more videos. Let me know what you guys want to see. Take care.